Charam Tatpadam Darshitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Agyanati Miradasya Yananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Guru Brahma Guru Vishnu Guru Devo Maheshwara Guru Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Savaram Jangamam Vyaktam Yat Kinchit Sacharacharam Tatpadam Darshitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Vavadivyapiya Sarvam Trilokyam Sacharacharam Tatpadam Darshitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Sarvashruti Shiroratna Virajita Padam Bhujaham Vedantam Bhuja Suryoya Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Chaitanya Shashvatashanto Vyomatito Niranjana Bindunada Kalatita Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Jnana Shakti Samaruda Tattvamala Vibhushitaha Mukti Mukti Pradatasha Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Anika Janma Samprapta Karma Banda Vidayine Atma Jnana Pradanena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shochanam Bhava Sindosha Yapanam Sarasampada Guru Padodakam Sanyam Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Na Guru Radhikam Tattvam Na Guru Radhikam Tapa Tattva Jnanat Param Nasti Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Manata Shri Jagannatha Madguru Shri Jagadguru Mamatma Sarva Bhutatma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Guru Radhiranadisa Guru Paramadevatam Guru Paradaram Nasti Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Tvameva Mata Pita Tvameva Tvameva Bandhushcha Sakha Tvameva Tvameva Vinyaya Vinam Tvameva Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva Tvameva Mata Pita Tvameva Tvameva Bandhushcha Sakha Tvameva Tvameva Vinyaya Vinam Tvameva Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva. Mahadeva Sadguru Deva Sri Vishwananda Mahadeva Sadguru Deva Sri Vishwananda Mahadeva Sadguru Deva Sri Vishwananda Sadguru Deva Sri Vishwananda Om Mahadeva Sadguru Deva Sri Vishwananda Mahadeva Sadguru Deva Sri Vishwananda Gurudev Sadgurudev Mahadeva Sadgurudeva Sri Vishwananda Mahadeva Sadgurudeva Sri Vishwananda Mahadeva Sadgurudeva Sri Vishwananda Mahadeva Sadgurudeva Sri Vishwananda Gurudev Sadgurudev Gurudev Sadgurudev Gurudev Sri Vishwananda Gurudev Sri Vishwananda Oh Gurudev Sri Vishwananda Gurudev Sri Vishwananda Prema Svarupa Sri Vishwananda Gurudev 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 Mahadeva Sadgurudeva Sri Vishwananda Mahadeva Sadgurudeva Sri Vishwananda Mahadeva Sadgurudeva Sri Vishwananda Mahadeva Sadgurudeva Sri Vishwananda Gurudev 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 Oh Gurudev Sri Vishwananda Gurudev Sri Vishwananda Gurudev 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 Oh Gurudev 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 Prema Svarupa Sri Vishwananda 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 Gurudev Mahadeva Sadgurudeva Sri Vishwananda Mahadeva Sadgurudeva Sri Vishwananda Mahadeva Sadgurudeva Sri Vishwananda Mahadeva Sadgurudeva Sri Vishwananda Gurudev Gurudev Gurudev, 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 oh Gurudev, Gurudev Sri Vishwananda, Gurudev, Gurudev, Gurudev Sri Vishwananda, Gurudev, oh Gurudev, Gurudev Sri Vishwananda, Gurudev, Gurudev, Gurudev Sri Vishwananda, Gurudev, Prema Svarupa Sri Vishwananda, Gurudev. Sri Vishwananda Gurudev, Prema Svarupa Sri Vishwananda Gurudev, Prema Svarupa Sri Vishwananda Gurudev, Prema Svarupa Sri Vishwananda Gurudev. Svarupa Sri Vishwananda Gurudev, Prema Svarupa Sri Vishwananda Gurudev, Mahadeva Sadguru Deva Sri Vishwananda, Mahadeva Sadguru Deva Shri Vishwananda, Gurudev, 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 Shri Vishwananda, Gurudev, Shri Vishwananda. Shishaya Namah, Om Vishamaya Namah, Om Devakari Samudyataya Namah, Om Sukshmatanave Namah, Om Chinmayaya Namah, Om Guru Murtaye Namah, Om Sundaraya Namah, Om Sulochanaya Namah, Om Sumukaya Namah, Om Charuhasaya Namah, Om Keshavaya Namah, Om Padmambujaya Namah, Om Mandagamanaya Namah, Om Charupardayine Namah, Om Ramaya Namah, Om Mandirastapakaya Namah, Om Shri Bhutabhrteshwarnath Namah, Om Gayatriya Jvane Namah, Om Arpanasvikarakaya Namah, Om Vishnu Pujakaya Namah, Om Namo Narayana Iti Mantropasakaya Namah, Om Swaramayaya Namah, Om Madhurakantaya Namah, Om Krishna Sankirtana Lolupaya Namah, Om Sutra Priyaya Namah, Om Mitabashine Namah, Om Bhakmine Namah, Om Chitrakala Visharadaya Namah, Om Vratalaraya Namah, Om Sadave Namah, Om Jagatpantaya Namah, Om Sarvalokaitaya Namah, Om Bhakta Priyaya Namah, Om Surdaya Namah, Om Nukulaya Namah, Om Neyaya Namah, Om Sudarshanaya Namah, Om Bhakta Vatsalaya Namah, Om Prema Murtaye Namah, Om Shubhekshanaya Namah, Om Pritivardhanaya Namah, Om Swastidayakaya Namah, Om Tarakaya Namah, Om Adharamaya Namah, Om Vardhanaya Namah, Om Architaya Namah, Om Arthaya Namah, Om Siddhipradaya Namah, Om Janardhanaya Namah, Om Manoharaya Namah, Om Mahakshaya Namah, Om Siddheshwaraya Namah, Om Bhasmabhushitaya Namah, Om Atmanigaya Namah, Om Nigarchana Protsakaya Namah, Om Siddhisadhanaya Namah, Om Madhavaya Namah, Om Karupasakaya Namah, Om Sukshmaya Namah, Om Vishokaya Namah, Om Satvikaya Namah, Om Samadarshine Namah, Om Dakshaya Namah, Om Achintyaya Namah, Om Niramkaraya Namah, Om Nirmohaya Namah, Om Avyagraya Namah, Om Chitakrodaya Namah, Om Vinayashilaya Namah, Om Svavashaya Namah, Om Kushalaya Namah, Om Shamaya Namah, Om Satyadharmaya Namaha. Om Nirvikalpaya Namaha. Om Viraktaya Namaha. Om Atindraya Namaha. Om Satyasandhaya Namaha. Om Pavitraya Namaha. Om Madhurasvabhavaya Namaha. Om Suranandaya Namaha. Om Nandanaya Namaha. Om Prasanmane Namaha. Om Bhaktaniraye Namaha. Om Sakshaye Namaha. Om Samatmaye Namaha. Om Sadayogine Namaha. Om Haraye Namaha. Om Sudapaya Namaha. Om Samyaya Namaha. Om Goyaya Namaha. Om Vimuktatmaya Namaha. Om Gaviraya Namaha. Om Guptaya Namaha. Om Atmaramaya Namaha. Om Srinivasaya Namaha. Om Devaya Namaha. Om Yudhidaraya Namaha. Om Danyaya Namaha. Om Gurave Namaha. Om Duratikramaya Namaha. Om Gahanaya Namaha. Om Bhagavate Namaha. Om Harisharana Margadarshakaya Namaha. Om Kudasta Jagartakaya Namaha. Om Adhiprayaya Namaha. Om Sarvamata Samatyaya Namaha. Om Shamaikata Bhavarnakaya Namaha. Om Hemavatar Sri Vishwananda Swami Namaha. Ato Deva Avantuno Yato Vishnur Vichakrame Prithviya Sapta Dhamabhi Idam Vishnur Vichakrame Treta Nirade Padam Samo Damasya Pagum Sure Tridi Pada Vichakrame Vishnur Gopa Ada Abhya Tato Dharmani Dharyene Vishnu Karmani Pashyata Yato Vritani Paspashe Indrasya Yujasaka Tad Vishnu Paramam Padagum Sada Pashyanti Suraya Divyeva Chakshuratatam Tad Vipraso Vipanyavo Jagrubhagum Sasamindate Vishnoryat Paramam Padam. Gurudevaya Dhimai Tanno Vishwananda Prachodayat. Om Premavattaraya Vidmaye Satgurudevaya Dhimai Tanno Vishwananda Prachodayat. Om Premavattaraya Vidmaye Satgurudevaya Dhimai Tanno Vishwananda Prachodayat. Suryakoti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kuru Me Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada. Om Bhurvasvaha Tatsavitur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimai Yo Yona Prachodayat. Om Bhurvasvaha Tatsavitur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimai Yo Yona Prachodayat. Om Bhurvasvaha Tatsavitur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimai Yo Yona Prachodayat. Madhusudana Kirtapare Narayana Achyuta Trivikrama Chakrapane Nityadri Sajadhara Sridhara Vasudeva Gopala Krishna Hare Tava Suprabhatam Shri Rukmini Shabhavanachare Murare Radesha Gopesa Surupa Brahmadivandya Shri Dvarakashraya Vaikunta Pate Bhuvane Kamurte Gopala Deva Hare Tava Suprabhatam Nina Krute Kamatarupa Varaha Murte Previkramaya Bhuvane Guru Rama Rama Shri Rama Krishna Yadunandana Kalki Rupa Gopala Krishna Hare Tava Suprabhatam Govinda Madhava Mukunda Parat Paresha Damodarabja Dharananda Kadhari Shori Gopa Gopi Jana Samrita Dina Bandho Gopi Jana Priyaye Tava Suprabhatam Shiratishay Bhujagadi Patalpashay Sarvaktarit Sadanashay Ramangashay Shri Gopavama Mrudutalpasugadishay Gopavalabaye Tava Suprabhatam Masapatri Sukhanarada Gotamadi Brahmarshi Sangamani Sangava Bharatesho Tishtanti Deva Tava Darshana Bhagya Eto Gopala Sekaraye Tava Suprabhatam Mandara Chari Tulasi Dala Malikadyaye Malyani Anjali Pute Samudaharanti Tishtanti Tvat Bhavatadaratale Munindra Radha Manohararaye Tava Suprabhatam Vedatrayam Patati Gotama Karna Goya Gayanti Sadgunagano Varada Savarga Sankirtayanti Tavanama Kada Vishesha Jinarada Dirshaya Tava Suprabhatam Govardhano Dharana Gopa Kishora Gopa Gopi Janamrita Suvesha Bhavati Pota Trilokyamona Sumangala Divya Deha Shri Rukmini Javarada Tava Suprabhatam Shri Vatsachina Sharanagata Parijata Bhaktarti Banjana Kripakara Dina Bandho Divyanta Gayati Janapriya Divya Rupa Sri Nanda Gopatanaya Tava Suprabhatam Padmaksha Padma Mukha Padmadara Prameya Padmalaya Sarita Padma Nivasa Shori Padmo Bhavati Surasevita Pada Padma Padmadinata Haraye Tava Suprabhatam Vidatale Haranaya Mahendra Vandya Tandarpadarpa Haratinya Sudesha Rupa Chandrananaya Sida Chandana Ligna Deha Govindaya Lavaraye Tava Suprabhatam Shri Nandanandana Yashoda Kumara Dira Mayangadina Davichona Supushpara Nilambudashu Sharira Rama Vihara Gopala Deva Haraye Tava Suprabhatam Shri Vaishrijam Bhavati Satya Suganti Bhadra Shri Mitra Vindra Divasa Prabhu Putri Karyaye तिष्ठन्ति दिव्यभवमेतव सेवनार्थं गोपीमना प्रियाये तव सुप्रभातं श्रीकृष्ण अच्युतानन्त मुकुन्द शौरी राधा मनोहर जनार्दन चक्रपाणे नामानि दिव्यमुनयोर्ननिशा वदन्ति ग्रामे मुहूर्तसमये तव सुप्रभातम् Shri Krishna Suprabhatam Nye Patadya Nisa Gure Kritama Papa Shri Krishna Rahe Tuka
Krishna Satchitananda Vigraha Anadiradir Govinda Sarvakarana Karanam Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami
Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami
Chintamani Prakara Satma Sukalpa Vriksha Lakshavriteshu Surabhira Vipalayanta Lakshmi Sahasra Shata Sambrama Sevyamanam Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Venum Kavantam Aravinda Dalayatasham Varavatam Samasitam Buddha Sundarangam Kandarpakoti Kamaniya Vishesha Shobham Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Alola Chandra Kalasadvanamalya Vanshi Ratnanganam Pranayakeli Kalavilasam Shamam Tribangalalitam Niyata Prakasham Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Angani Yasya Sakalendriya Vrittimanti Pashyanti Panti Kalayanti Shiram Jaganti Ananta Shinmaya Saduchvala Vigrahasya Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Advaitam Achyutamanani Manantarupam Adyam Purana Purusham Navayovanam Cha Vedeshu Durlabham Adurlabhamatma Bhakto Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Pantastu Koti Shatavatsara Sampraganyo Vayoratapi Manaso Munipungavanam Sopyasti Aprapada-simya Vichintya Tatve Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Ekopya Saura Jayatum Jagadanda Kotim Yachaktirasti Jagadanda Chayaya Dantaha Andantarasta Paramanu Chayantarastam Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Yadbhava Bhavita Diyo Manujastateva Samprapya Rupa Mahima Sanayana Bhusha Sukteryameva Nigama Pratitestu Vanti Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Ananda Chinmaya Razanpratibhavitavis Tabiya Eva Nijarupa Taya Kalavi Goloka Eva Nivasatya Kilatma Bhuto Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami
Premanjanachurita bhakti vilochanena Santa sadeva hridayeshu vilokayanti Yam shama sundaram achintya guna swarupam Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami Ramadi murti shukaladi yamena tishtan Nanavatarama karot bhuvaneshu kintu Krishna svayam samabhavat paramapumanyo Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami Yasya prabha prabhavato jagadanda koti Koti svachesha vasudari vibhuti pinam Tadramanishkalamanantam ashesha bhutam Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami Maya iyasya jagadanda satani sute Pregulyatad vishaya veda vitayamana Sattva valamli parasattva vishuddha sattvam Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami Ananda chinmaya rasatmataya manashu Yapraninam pratipalam smaratam upetya Lila itena bhuvanani jayatya jasram Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami Golokanam nitijadam nitalesha tasya Vedi maesha haridama suteshu teshu Teke prabhava nishaya vichaschayena Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami Srishti sthiti pralaya sadhana shakti reka Jaye vayasya bhuvanani vibharti durga Ichhanurupamapi yasya chacheshta tesa Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami Shriram yadadani vichara vishesha yogat Sanjayate naitata prata asti eto Yasham bhutam abhitata samupeti karyat Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami Dipakshireva ida shantaramabhyupetya Dipayate vivita hetu samana dharma Yastadve eva icha vishnutaya vibhati Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami Yakaranana vajale bhajati sma yoga Nidramananta jagadanda saroma kupa Adhara shaktima valambya param samurtim Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami Yasve kadisha sitakala matavaramya Jivanti loma vilaja jagadandanata Vishnur mahasaya yasya kala vishesho Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami Asvamyatasma shakaleshu nijeshu teja Viyankiyapya katayatya pitatvata Brahmaya esha jagadanda vidana karta Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami Yagpada pallava yugam vinidaya kumbha Dvandve pranama samaye sagadadi rajaha Vignam vihantu malamasya jagatrayasya Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami Agni mai gaganamampu marudishacha Dharastatatma manasiti jagatrayani Yasmat bhavanti vibhavanti vishanti yamcha Govindamadipurusham tamaham bhajami. Govindamadipurusham tamaham bhajami. Yakshaksuresha savita sakala grahana. Rajasamasa suramurti rashesha teja. Yasyajnaya brahmati sampritakala chakro. Govindamadipurusham tamaham bhajami. Govindamadipurusham tamaham bhajami. Dharmo tapapanichaya sutayastapamsi. Brahmanikita patagavadayascha jiva. Yatattamatra vibhava prakata prabhava. Govindamadipurusham tamaham bhajami. Govindamadipurusham tamaham bhajami. Yasvindra gopamata maosma karma. Bandhanurupa palabhaja manatanoti. Karmani nirdati kintu ja bhakti bhajam. Govindamadipurusham tamaham bhajami. Govindamadipurusham tamaham bhajami. Yam krodha kama saja pranayadipiti. Vatsalya moha guru gaurava sedya bhavai. Sanchitatasya sadishinta munapurete. Govindamadipurusham tamaham bhajami. Govindamadipurusham tamaham bhajami. Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchitananda Vigraha Anadiradir Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam Govindamadipurusham tamaham bhajami. Govindamadipurusham tamaham bhajami.
Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Hari Om. Hiranyavarnam Harinim Suvarnarajatasrajam Chandram Hiranmayim Lakshmim Jatavedo Mahavaha. Tamahavaha Jatavedo Lakshmim Anapagaminim. Yasyam hiranyam vindeyam gamashvam purushanaham. Ashvapurva vratamadhyam astinara prabodhinim. Shriyam devim upakvaye shirma devi jushatam. Kamso smitam hiranya prakaram ardram jalantim triptam tarpayantim. Padme stita padmavarnam tamyopakvaye shayam. Chandram prabhasam yashasa jalantim shayam loke vadishtamudaram. Tam padminimim sharanamaham prabhadye lakshmir menasyatam tvam vrane. Adityavarme tapaso dijato vanaspatistava vrikshota bilvaha. Tasya palani tapasanulantu mayantarayascha vaya alakshmi. Upeto madeva saka kirdisya manina saha. Pradurmutosmi ashtre smrityam mrityam dadato me. Kshatpipasa balam jeshtam lakshmim nashayamyaham. Abhutim asamriddhim cha sarva nirdadame griyat. Gandhatvaram duradarshan nitya pushtam karishinim. Ishvari gum sarva bhutanam tamyopakvaye shayam. Manasakka mama kutim vacha satyamashīmahi. Pashunam rūpamanhasya mahishi shayadam yashaha. Kartamena praja bhuta vai sambhava karnama. Shriyam vasayame kule mataram padmamalinim. Apasrujantu snigdhanim chiklitavasame grihe. Nisha Devi Mataram Shayam Vasayame Kule. Ardraಂ pushkarini pushtim suvarnam hemamalinim Suryam hiranmayim lakshmim jatavedo mahavaha Ardram yakkarinim yashtim pingalam padmamalinim Chandram hiranmayim lakshmi jatavedo mahavaha Tam mahavaha jatavedo lakshmi manapagaminim Yasyam hiranyam prabhutam gavo dasyo shvad vindeyam purushanaham Yashuchi prayato bhutva juhuyada jamangaham Suktam panchadashacham chashikama satatam japet Padma priye padmini padmahaste padmalaye padmadalaya takshi Vishvapraye vishnu manonukole tanpada padmam mahisannidasva Mahadevye cha vidmahe vishnupadye cha dhimahi Tanno lakshmi prachodayat Om Shanti 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 Bhumir Bhumnadyo Varinantariksham Mahitva Upastete Devati Dekne Mannada Mannatyayadade Ayango Krishnirakrami Rasanan Mataram Punaha Pitaram cha Prayansumaha Trigum Shaddam Avirajati Vak Patangaya Shishaye Pratyasya Vahadyuvihi Asyakranadapananyantasya Radirochana Vyakyan Mahishasuvaha Yatva Kritaparuvapamanyunayadavatya Sukharpamagne tattavapunastoti payamasi Yatte mangyuparobdasya prithvi manudatvase Aditya vishvetatdeva vasavasya samavaram Manojyotirjushatamacham vichinnam yajnagum samimam datatu Brihaspatistanutamimam no vishve deva yamadayantam Medini Devi Vasundara Syat Vasudha Devi Vasavi Brahma Vajjasa Pitranagam Shotram Chakshur Manaha Devi Hiranyagarbhini Devi Prasuvari Sadane Sadyayane Sida Samudravati Savitri Ano Devi Mayangi Mahodarani Mahovitishta Shange Shange Yagne Yagne Vibhishani Indrapatni Vyapini Sarasanidiha Vayumati Jalashayani Shriyam Daraja Satyamdo Parimelini Shopariradam Barigaya Vishnupatni Mahi Devi Madhavi Madhava Priyam Lakshmi Priyasakim Devim Namamachata Vallabham Danudaraye Vidmahe Sarva Siddhai Chadimahi Tanno Dhara Prachodayat Om Shanti 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 Nilam Devi Gum Sharanamaham Prapadye Grinayi Gritavati Savitarani Padyay Payasvati Rantirashano Asto Druvadisham Vishnupadya Gora Sishana Sahasoya Manota Brahaspatir Matarishvota Vayas Sanduvana Vata Abhinogranantu Vishtambo Divo Dardah Pratilya Asyeshana Jagato Vishnupatni Mahadevecha Vidmahe Vishnupatye Chadimahi Tanno Nila Prachodayat Om Shanti 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 Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Hari Om
Ajnana-timirandasya jnananjana-shalakaya chakshurunmilitam yena tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Jai Gurudev, good morning. So today is, I try to put a little bit of a challenge. Today is Chinese New Year, so Happy New Year for any of you who are Chinese. So I already had kind of an idea what to do for satsang, but then when I was thinking about what to do for today, having almost prepared my satsang already, I thought maybe I should do something else. Because it's Chinese New Year, and one of the main symbols that they use is the dragon. So I was like, maybe I put a challenge and see if I find a dragon story in the Bhagavatam, which took a while. Because there's not really a dragon story in the Bhagavatam, as I found out. But there is one demon which is said to be somewhat like a dragon, snake dragon demon. I have not found a picture of him where he's actually shown as a dragon, but whatever. So I'll share the verse later. So this is from Canto 6. And the story actually starts with King Chitraketu, which I think we've heard the story several times before, right? You remember there's a very righteous king, very famous king, very powerful king, who he was, you could say, very successful in ruling the kingdom. He had many, many wives, or he said to have 100 wives, and he had everything that one could wish for in life. But it so happened that all of his wives were barren. And so, as we know from all the stories, all the kingly stories in the Bhagavatam, the most important thing to a king is to have children, to have an heir, to carry on the lineage, right? And so although he had everything in life, he was still not fully happy or satisfied. And so he eventually, by the sages, he received the blessing to have a child. His wife received a child. He was very happy. He loved his child. He did everything with his child. But as it sometimes occurs, that if you have many wives, which I guess is not recommendable, especially nowadays, if you have not just one wife, but you have 100 wives, if one wife has a child and the other 99 do not have a child, they feel left out. Because they also wonder, because child gives you status of being the favored wife, right? You have to compete. And so obviously, as time went on, all the other wives became jealous and more jealous. And so eventually they came to a point where they became so jealous that they poisoned the child. And so they killed the child out of jealousy. I know, it's stories. And so obviously King Chitraketu was very upset, very sad, and he was lamenting. And he was so destroyed, you could say mentally, in his lamentation, that he didn't want to live anymore. And so it happened that two sages, Sage Narada, as so often, and Sage Angira, were the ones who came to him, and they taught him all the knowledge of spirituality, you could say, of you could say similar things that Krishna taught to Arjuna in the Gita, right? About you're being the soul, not the body, to be equipoised with that which comes in life, whether it is pleasurable or painful, etc. And so by the teachings of Sage Narada and Angira, he became free. He became very elevated. He had many powers. And so he started to travel through the different realms of the universe as a somewhat free being, you could say. And it so happened one instance, even though he was so elevated in being, that he met Shiva and Parvati, and in some way, it seems that Parvati felt that he insulted Shiva, and so she cursed him to become a demon in his next life. And so going to the other story, there was a great Brahmin by the name of Twashta. And so Twashta had a son called Vishvarupa. Vishvarupa had 3 heads, and he was a Twashta, as he was related to, his father was Twashta, and he was related to the demigods, and his mother was related to the demons. And so Vishvarupa, being the son of Twashta and the demon mother, was related to both. And he was also the chosen priest of Indra, or the demigods. And so as he was doing the sacrifices, the yagnas for the demigods, chanting Indraya idam namama, Agnaya idam namama, this is for Indra, this is for Agni. He was offering all the shares of sacrifice to the demigods, but secretly he was offering also to the demons. He was giving the remnants, the prasad, to the demons also, because he was related to both. Right? And so he was offering for both also. And so when Indra realized this, or found out, he was, as he sometimes becomes a bit upset, because of course, as usual, the demons and demigods, they were in peril, they were fighting each other about who wins, who is more powerful. And so Indra feared, as I guess it's one of the main driving forces of Indra, we can say in the stories, fear of losing his position, that he became afraid of losing the war, because his priest basically was giving blessings to both of them, power to both of them. And so Indra became very upset, and in his anger he cut off the heads of Vishvarupa. And so what happens if somebody cuts off the head of a son? Usually the father gets very upset, right? So obviously, as a small detail, Indra, even though he knew Vishvarupa as being a Brahmin, it's very bad to kill a Brahmin, and so then he knew what has to be done to what to do to get rid of the karma, right? Because it's a great karma to kill a Brahmin, but he didn't really do it properly. And so the karma that was distributed to the trees, to the different places, but it was still there. And so, as I said, Twashta, his father, became very angry, very upset. And so he did a yagna for the purpose of killing Indra. Because of course, if you killed my son, I have to make sure you get killed. Eye for an eye, that's how it works. And so he did a yagna to kill Indra, or the purpose of his yagna actually was to increase the enemies of Indra. So it was not directly to kill Indra, it was just so that he gets more enemies, and maybe they will kill him. So it was not directly, because that wouldn't be dharmic, right, to kill Indra. But he prayed, or he did yagna, so he gets more enemies, so maybe the enemies can take care of the problem. So the problem was that, that's funny because they're doing yagna back there, that, we are so blessed by Guruji that we can do these rituals and prayers so easily, right? But they are so powerful. And the point is actually that if you do something wrong, the effect can be very different. And even if you chant, actually there was a mantra that he was chanting, and the only mistake that he made is that he chanted it too quickly. The speed was not proper. And so because the speed was different, it didn't increase the enemies of Indra, but it created a demon that came for the purpose of killing Indra. Right? Just because of the speed of the mantra that he was chanting. Yeah. Sometimes we take the mantras and the yantras and the pujas and the yagnas that we do so easily, the pronunciation, struggling, they're actually very powerful. And only pronouncing something differently can have a very different effect also. I'm not saying this to create fear. I'm just saying for awareness from the story. And so what happened is that this Asura was created from this yagna. That's why he's, in some images that I saw, he is not seen as having actual legs, or his legs were fire. Yeah, he came out of the yagna. And then some way, I guess later on, during the fight with Indra, both his arms were cut off. And then, we'll come to the story. So maybe, I think that's where he's seen as a dragon because he's burning with the fire and he's increased in size, whatever. Yeah? And so he came out of the yagna, and he was so huge and so ginormous and fearsome that all the demigods became frightened, including Indra. And so, as usual, the demigods, when they see that they can't handle something, of course, first they attacked him, but this demon Vrita, he literally just opened his mouth and swallowed all of the arrows and all the weapons that they threw at him, like it was nothing. And so they became very frightened. And so, as always, when they get frightened, they go to their boss. Right? They went to Narayana and asked, please protect us, please help us, you are our shelter, you are everything to us, we surrender to you, Sharanagati Haribol, please do everything for us, right? Save us. And in this time, he said, okay, this is not important enough for me, I'm busy up here, so I tell you what to do. I will not come myself, like Rama, Krishna, whatever, but I tell you what you need to do. So he said, that which is most purifying in this world is the purest of devotees. And so there is a very pure devotee, a very highly elevated soul sage by the name of Dadichi. So if you go to Dadichi and convince him to give up his body and give you his bones, you can make a weapon of his bones, and with that weapon you can defeat Vritrasura. And so Indra, in all his great humility, he went to the sage, he went to Dadichi and tried to convince him to die, to give up his body. And he was not convinced in the beginning, but through the conversation, and I guess Indra made some good arguments why he should die, why it's nice to reunite with the Supreme Lord, whatever, that he said, okay, I will give up my body. And so he fixes his gaze on the Supreme Lord and he left his body. And so with the help of Vishwakarma, the divine architect, with the bones of this sage, they created this weapon called Vrita, which is also the thunderbolt of Indra, right? Which later you'd say the main weapon, I guess, of Indra, right? The thunderbolt. And so they created this thunderbolt. And as the war started, or the battle started between Indra and Vritrasura, it was a very long fight and very furious fight. In the fight, Indra, with the thunderbolt, cut off I think it was the left arm first. And then he kept fighting and he cut off the other arm also. And so during the fight, there were, just to highlight, because Vritrasura is known as a demon, but in many of the stories that I read, he's known as the godly demon. And so as part of this fight, it was not just physical fighting and throwing thunder at each other and whatever, but it was also discussions, conversations. And I just wanted to take two examples of the discussions. One of the things that Vritrasura says, and one of the things that, as a reply, actually Indra says in this discussion, just to show the nature of Vritrasura and why he's called the godly demon. Because remember, he was Chitraketu. He was a very elevated soul, actually. The only purpose, or the reason why he became a demon is because he was cursed. But just because you get cursed to be incarnated as a demon doesn't mean you lose all your punya, all your samskaras of what you have done in your last life or last lives. Right? As Krishna reassures us in the Gita itself also that you don't lose the merit that you have gained in the past. Yeah? And so Vritrasura, as part of remember this is in the middle of the war, so I guess in between probably they got tired and said we need a break, so we just talk. Yeah. So Vritrasura says in chapter 6, Canto 6, chapter 12, verse 13 to 15, just as a person not inclined to die must nonetheless give up his longevity, opulence, fame, and everything else at the time of death. So, at the appointed time of victory, one can gain all of these when the Supreme Lord awards them by His mercy. Since everything is dependent on the supreme will of the Lord, one should be equipoised in fame and defamation, victory and defeat, life and death. In their effects, represented as happiness and distress, one should maintain oneself in equilibrium, without anxiety. One who knows that the three qualities, goodness, passion, and ignorance, are not qualities of the soul, but qualities of material nature, and who knows that the pure soul is simply an observer of the actions and reactions of the qualities, should be understood to be a liberated soul. He is not bound by these qualities. So this is the Dhritarashtra speaking. One of the he obviously speaks for various verses, just to give some examples. One of the first answer that Indra gives is in verse 19. He says, "O great demon, I see by your discrimination and endurance in devotional service, despite your dangerous position, that you are a perfect devotee of the Lord and a friend of everyone." Which is amazing, right? The one that you're about to kill, the one that you're fighting for death, you're speaking in this manner, right? Which is incredible, because you can see that even Indra recognized that this is, by the way that he speaks, that it is not just a demon or a person decline in demonic qualities. Why would a demonic drawn person speak in this way or recognize such high level of knowledge? Why would he speak about the Supreme Lord in such a loving way? Yeah? And so it's quite beautiful, actually, this whole conversation and the whole story. And so we find that he was very detached from life, actually, especially he realized that the purpose, the reason why he had to incarnate in this way was also due to his acceptance. When he was Chitraketu, he accepted his mistake. He accepted the curse that he received from Parvati, and he accepted his mistake. And that was one of the reasons, as far as I could see, why he did not lose, you could say, his memory or his samskara of everything that he has gained. So he was still very much aware. He had to act in a certain way due to Leela as a demon for what purpose he came, but he didn't actually experience that nature, I would say. And so the verse that I took actually is from the moment that he leaves his body, that he dies. Yeah? So as after the discussion, the battle goes on, Indra cuts off another arm, and then obviously without arms you can't fight very well. So he lies down, he's lying, and he increases in size so much that it says that he touches his jaw to the ground, and he opens his mouth and touches the sky. And so his mouth in his body becomes so huge, and as Indra sends the weapon to cut off his head, it took 365 days of the weapon to circumambulate his neck. 365 days to cut off his head. That's how long it took, because it was so huge and so big, right? And so he eventually, obviously, he succeeds. He cuts off the head of this demon. And so you see the whole story in Canto 6 is actually chapter 9, 10, 11, 12, and beginning of 14. So it's almost a little bit more than 4 chapters just on the story of this demon. And the appearance, the glory, the battle between the two, and just one chapter, chapter 12, is about the glorious death of Dhritarashtra. So this describes the death of this demon. And so this, the verse that I took is from Canto 6, chapter 12, verse 35, which has Vritasya Deha Nishkrantam Atma Jyotirarindama Pashyatam Sarvadevanam Alokam Samapatyatam. O King Parikshit, subduer of enemies, the living spark then came forth from Vritasura's body and returned home, back to the Supreme Lord. While all the demigods looked on, he entered the transcendental world to become an associate of Lord Shankarshana, the Supreme Lord. And we can see this with so many different demons, right? Whether it was that were killed by the Supreme Lord, whether it is Kamsa or many of the other demons who were so, you could say, demonic or furious, ferocious in nature, but still they attained the Lord upon their death. And of course, the story is a bit different than the story with Kamsa and so on, because there we understand the reason why was because his fixation on the Lord purified him. Even though he hated him, he still thought of him more than any devotee usually does, because of his intense anger and hate. With him, it was different, because he gained that divine qualities in his last life, right? And so I would say from this story, we can see the importance of acceptance of everything that comes in life. Of course, I guess we need to learn also that we shouldn't insult Shiva or insult the sages. I guess from the Bhagavatam we can see sages and rishis. It's not too good to insult. You could say also it's not good to insult the devotees. You could say actually in general, because that's never a good idea. And because we read the stories of the Bhagavatam, we say, okay, we understand we shouldn't insult God or the demigods or Shiva or even the sages and rishis. But what are they really? They are devotees. Actually, they're the most purest of devotees, whether it's Shiva or whether it's the rishis and the sages. They've dedicated their life to the Supreme Lord. And to do everything in their life and fix their mind on God. So they're exalted devotees. And so as a first lesson, as I was thinking this story needs to have a lesson or conclusion, is that we should never insult the devotees, whether it is on word, deed, or action, because they can see what happens. Not that the devotee necessarily needs to be so insulted and curse us to be born as a demon. No, that's obviously not what we as devotees should do either. But we understand that why are the devotees so special is because they have made a life choice to love God. And why are they so special and at the same time so dangerous? Because of their love to God, it is God who reciprocates that love. As we can see in the Gita also, and what Guruji always speaks about, that yes, God always loves you, but if that relationship is one-sided, it is not real. Right? It is not experienced from our side. But once we make that step towards Him, He never leaves us consciously also. And so when we insult a devotee, we actually don't insult the devotee, we insult the Supreme Lord Himself. And that is not a good thing. Right? And so we have to be very conscious about how we speak and act and think, actually, even of each other as devotees. And the second thing I would say, actually there's 3 lessons. First is that the second one is acceptance. Acceptance that we are not perfect and these things might happen. Just as Chitraketu, who was very elevated in being, seemed to have insulted Shiva, and so said, I have learned my lesson. I accept the mistake I've made and I accept the consequences to that mistake. And so simply the acceptance of our imperfection and the acceptance of the divine will, that I'm not perfect when everything happens according to His will, is also an important lesson. To go with the flow of life, even if we make mistakes, take responsibility for it and move on. I don't get stuck on it or go into the demonic side of that mistake, of victimizing ourselves and so on. And the third one, I guess the lesson that we can take from every story that we read in the Bhagavatam, is that the Lord is supremely merciful. Because anything that we can possibly do will make him so upset. He will say, I curse you to be a demon for eternity. I curse you to never be able to change and never attain me. There is nothing that we can possibly do to make him stop loving us and to make him stop giving us his mercy, his compassion. And so, as we can see in this story, even though he was very elevated, even though he may have insulted Shiva, he still had the mercy by the Supreme Lord's mercy that he could remember these qualities in his previous life. And so that even if he had these demonic qualities in the outside, he had a memory in the samskaras, which I would 100% think all of us are in the same situation. We are all not here just randomly. We are here by his grace. We are here, yes, we have maybe made some effort in our last life. I can say I have made zero effort to deserve being with Guruji, especially before I met Guruji. 100% samskaras, 100% mercy. But we have to live up to that compassion that he has given to us also. We have to show gratitude for that mercy and that grace that he has given us, not to throw it away. And so it's a very nice story, actually, to take these 3 lessons from. Be compassionate to all the devotees. Be compassionate to yourself also. Accept the will of him, of the Supreme Lord. Everything comes and everything goes in life. Everything is by his will. And thirdly, understand that he will always love you. He will always be compassionate towards us, no matter what we do. We shouldn't stretch it, take it for granted, but he will always be there to help us to elevate, to transform ourselves. Jai Gurudev.
Namaste Narasimhaya,
Namaste Narasimhaya,
Namaste Narasimhaya,
Namaste Narasimhaya,
Pralay Daladadaine, Pralay Narasimha Narasimhadim Sharanam Prapadye
Narasimhadim Sharanam Prapadye
Narasimhadim Sharanam Prapadye
Narasimhadim Sharanam Prapadye
Tavakara Kamalavare Nakamadvu Kashringa Kalita Iranyakashipu Tanu Vingam Tavakara
Kamalavare Nakamadvu Kashringa Kalita Iranyakashipu
Badrita Narari Ruma Jayo Jagadisha Hare Jayo Jagadisha Hare Jayo Jagadisha Hare
Keshavadeta Narahari Rupa Jayo Jagadisha Hare Jayo Jagadisha Hare Jayo Jagadisha Hare
Jayo Narsingha De Jayo Narsingha De
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 Jayo Prahlad Maharaj Prahlad Maharaj
Prahlad Maharaj Jayo Prahlad Maharaj
Bhakta Svarupa Jaya Prahlad Maharaj
Bhakta Svarupa Jayo Prahlad Maharaj
Gurudev 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev
Gurudev Gurudev Gurudev Jaya Jaya Gurudev
Sri Vishwananda Gurudev 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 Sri Vishwananda Gurudev
Gurudev Gurudev Gurudev Sri Vishwananda Gurudev
Oh Gurudev 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 Sri Vishwananda Gurudev
Gurudev Gurudev Gurudev Gurudev Gurudev Sri Vishwananda Gurudev
Ramanuja Ramanuja Mangala Mangala Me Yatiraja Ramanuja Mangala Mangala Me
Ramanuja Ramanuja Mangala Mangala Me Yatiraja Ramanuja Mangala Mangala Me
Yatindraya Karunakaraya Mangala Mangala Me
Yatindraya Karunakaraya Mangala Mangala Me
Prapati Dharmikarataya Mangala Mangala Me
Prapati Dharmikarataya Mangala Mangala Me
Ramanuja Ramanuja Mangala Mangala Me Yatiraja Ramanuja Mangala Mangala Me
Ramanuja Ramanuja Mangala Mangala Me Yatiraja Ramanuja Mangala Mangala Me
Saligrama Pratisthitaya Mangala Mangala Me
Saligrama Pratisthitaya Mangala Mangala Me
Sridangadarine Godagrajaya Mangala Mangala Me
Vidandadharine Godagrajaya Mangala Mangala Me
Ramanuja Ramanuja Mangala Mangala Me Yatiraja Ramanuja Mangala Mangala Me
Ramanuja Ramanuja Mangala Mangala Me Yatiraja Ramanuja Mangala Mangala Me
Range Sakinkare Rataya Mangala Mangala Me
Range Sakhinkaya Rataya Mangala Mangala Me
मननतया धारिन धराय मंगल मंगल में
मननतया धारिन धराय मंगल मंगल में
रामानुज रामानुज मंगल मंगल में यतिराज रामानुज मंगल मंगल में
रामानुज रामानुज मंगल मंगल में यतिराज रामानुज मंगल मंगल में।
ओम जय लक्ष्मी माता
जय जय लक्ष्मी माता तुमको निशालीन सेवता तुमको निशालीन सेवता हर विष्णु विधाता। ओम जय लक्ष्मी माता तुम्हारा मारा माने तुम्हारी जगमाता मैं तुम्हारी जगमाता सूर्य चंद्रमा जावत सूर्य चंद्रमा जावत नारद ऋषि गाता। ओम जय लक्ष्मी माता दुर्गा रूपा निरंजनी सुख संपत्ति दाता मैं सुख संपत्ति दाता। जो कोई तुमको जावत जो कोई तुमको जावत हृदय सिद्धि धन पाता। ओम जय लक्ष्मी माता तुम पाताल निवासिनी तुम्हारी शुभदाता मैं तुम्हारी शुभदाता। कर्म प्रभाव प्रकाशिनी कर्म प्रभाव प्रकाशिनी भवानी की त्राता। ओम जय लक्ष्मी माता जिस घर में तुम्हारा दिन सब सगुनाता मैं सब सगुनाता सब संभव हो जाता सब संभव हो जाता मन नहीं घबराता। ओम जय लक्ष्मी माता तुम बिना याज्ञा न होते वस्त्र न कोई पाता मैं वस्त्र न कोई पाता। खाना पान कवे बाबा खाना पान कवे बाबा सब तुमसे आता। ओम जय लक्ष्मी माता शुभ गुण मंदिर सुंदर चीरो नदी जाता मैं चीरो नदी जाता। राम चतुर नच तुम बिन राम चतुर नच तुम बिन कोई नहीं पाता। ओम जय लक्ष्मी माता माँ लक्ष्मी जी की आरती जो कोई जन गाता मैं जो कोई जन गाता। पूर्णानंद समाता पूर्णानंद समाता पाप उतर जाता। ओम जय लक्ष्मी माता ओम जय लक्ष्मी माता जय जय लक्ष्मी माता तुमको निशालीन सेवता तुमको निशालीन सेवता हर विष्णु विधाता। ओम जय लक्ष्मी माता ओम जय लक्ष्मी माता जय जय लक्ष्मी माता तुमको निशालीन सेवता तुमको निशालीन सेवता हर विष्णु विधाता। ओम जय लक्ष्मी माता ओम जय लक्ष्मी माता जय जय लक्ष्मी माता तुमको निशालीन सेवता तुमको निशालीन सेवता हर विष्णु विधाता। ओम जय लक्ष्मी माता। देवमाता च पिता त्वमेव त्वमेव बन्धुश्च सखा त्वमेव त्वमेव विद्या द्रविणं त्वमेव त्वमेव सर्वं मम देव देव त्वमेव सर्वं मम देव देव। असतो मा
sadgamaya tamaso ma jyotirgamaya mrityorma amritamgamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Prem se bolo Shri Lakshmi Narayana Bhagavan ki Jai. Sri Bhutabhrteshwarnath Bhagavan ki Jai. Radha Krishna Kanhaiya Lal ki Jai. Mahavata Kriya Babaji ki Jai. Shri Ramanujacharya ki Jai. Prem se bolo Sadgurudeva Sri Swami Vishwananda Mahaprabhu ki Jai. Om Krishnaya Govindaya Gopijanvalabhaya Paraya Paramapurushaya Parakarma Mantrayanta Tantra Oshadasta Shastrani Samara Samara Mrityor Mochaya Mochaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudarshanaya Dipte Jvala Pritai Sarvadik Shobana Humpak Parasmare Parabrahmane Paramjyotishe Swaha. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Shri Radhe, Jai Jai Shri Radhe, Jai Jai Shri Radhe. Shame Ganarmana Govinda, Gopika Jivana Smaranam Govinda, Bhakta Vatsala Govinda, Pundarika Varade, Ekanath Namade, Pandarinath Maharaj ki, Masta Bhakta Mandali ki, Alvari Perumanai Thiruvarikalahe.